Nothing.
Yeah, where'd you go?
Went to see Funny Girl on Broadway.
Wow.
And I watched the whole show not knowing it was the girl from The Girl Superbad. Booksmart. I call it The Girl Superbad because, did you see that movie?
What was it called?
Booksmart.
Oh, no, I did not.
There was this whole thing that it came out and people liked it, but they said, I mean, not that many people saw it, but people who saw it, they liked it.
I think I remember this image being on Netflix, and I never wanted to watch it.
Well, a lot of people said it's like the girl version of Superbad. And then I forget Olivia Wilde is Olivia Wilde. I get Olivia Wilde and Olivia Munn confused.
I can see that.
I mean, I don't even, just the names. I don't know who's who. I've never made the distinction. I think Olivia Wilde directed it and she got really angry. It's nothing. I was like, hey, people are going to make comparisons. That's not a bad thing. People liked Superbad. But anyway, one of the girls in that was the lead in Funny Girl on Broadway, and she's getting apparently panned in reviews because Barbara Streisand did that first.
Yeah.
And no one's going to live up to that. And they're saying that she's the equivalent of like high school. I feel I didn't know who it was when I went to see it today. I was watching, and the lead's not the traditionally beautiful woman.
No, that's the point.
Yeah, and watching, and I thought, oh, this is nice. I like this show. That somebody like, who is this woman? She just gets she's probably been on Broadway before, and she's now gets to be the lead in a show, and she gets to make out with a really hot guy. Ramen. I know that's not how you pronounce it. It was the guy who played Phantom in the 25th anniversary Royal Albert Hall. And he has a shirt off and he's still cut and gorgeous. And she gets to make out with him, and that's amazing. And then after the show, I found out it was the girl from the movie, and she was also in Lady Bird, which, fine, it doesn't make me not like her, but in my mind, it changed things. Because then I thought, she's been in things before. She's not that excited about this. This is not some...
How did she do? Do you think it was high school?
I enjoyed it. I liked the show. I'm not.
What about her performance?
I thought it was fine. I thought it was good. Okay. I mean, when I say fine, I mean, I'm not a judge on singing so much.
Singing?
I'm not. Like if someone's bad, I know they're bad. But I would probably say, oh, that person was good, and someone who really knows, like, no, they weren't.
I see.
So, but I enjoyed it. And
I knew some opera people that did not like Sarah Brightman's Christine.
Oh, and Phantom. But I mean, that makes sense. I feel like opera people are pretentious.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that's
and she changed her whole mode of singing after many years of singing that way. And so I wonder if that's why.
What do you mean?
So she sang the way she sang, during Phantom, which I don't know anything about. It's like, that's one way of singing. And then, do you remember it might have been the late 90s or the early 2000s where like it would be during the PBS telethons and stuff where they would play a Sarah Brightman concert and she would be singing just really differently. And I remember looking into it and she had revamped her singing voice.
I didn't know. I had no
She
clue.
restructured it.
I didn't know that she did that. Did she take the criticism personally?
I don't know. I never got into that part. I think it was, I don't think I had as much access to the internet as I, could at this moment to really find that information out.
I think it's ridiculous for anyone who is an opera singer to judge someone's performance in Phantom of the Opera. There's no opera singing in it. I mean, maybe you could say.
No, there is. Carlotta.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe you could say Carlotta in the opening number with Piangi.
Piangi.
But I don't, for the most part, it's like pop music.
Yeah.
So these opera singers, turning their nose up to it. Ugh.
Right.
Disgusting.
They're not like, she's speaking in sleep. He sang to me. She's like,
nobody wants to hear that in this show. There's a place for it. It wasn't that show just because opera was in the title. But I put on a suit. I put on a suit for the performance today. When I go to the theater, I take it very seriously. Meanwhile, schlubs all around me, people in jean shorts and tank tops.
Ew.
These-
No, there weren't tank tops.
Oh, there were tank tops. It's the middle of the
Ew,
summer.
really?
It's the middle of summer. It's a matinee show, but it's on Sunday. It's the only show.
Ew, but you're sitting next to someone's like armpit hair peeking out from underneath their armpits. It's gross.
Yeah, shorts,
Not that armpit hair is gross in general, just like a dude's armpit hair seems gross.
sandals, and socks. I bet I would bet I'm the only person in this suit in the whole theater. There were some older gentlemen who had on dress shirts and nicer pants, but for the most part, man, what has this country become? You can tell in our dress. Become, I don't know, an adjective.
We've become
An adjective didn't come to mind, so I got nothing.
Welcome to One Topic, where we stick to one topic. My name is Autumn Fisher. Too late?
Yeah, I know it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anyway. That's why I don't want to make it a big deal again. But yes, it was too late.
My bad.
You know.
It was my fault because I was looking at my calendar and I was like, when do I have to pay the preschool?
When is
then-
that over? When is public school come into play?
Soon, whenever school starts.
Oh,
And then I'll
in
be
the-
done.
In the fall.
Yeah.
When does it start there? August or September?
No, it's in September.
Like
We
it
start
sh-
when it's supposed to start, which is in the fall.
Labor Day. After Labor Day.
Yeah, probably after Labor Day.
I feel like growing up in Georgia, we still went before Labor Day, but it was like August 20th.
Yeah, it
And
was
that-
late August at least.
And now I feel like everyone goes back like July 30th.
No, is that right?
It's very soon.
Yeah.
But they also have a bunch of breaks during the year now that we didn't have. There's a fall break. Like you go to school for a month and a half. It's like time for fall break. You get a full week. And you still get the winter break of 2 weeks, which was always the best. I remember leaving on that day. It's like, a whole 2 weeks.
I know, it feels like forever.
And then you'd be back at school before you know it. I mean, yes, it did go by a little more slowly then. Summers could seem really long. When
I felt
you-
like the summers were super long.
Yeah, something like the 4th of July was a midway point unofficially. And it did feel like it took a while to even get to there. But, the perception of time is different. It's like being stoned, how the time passes slowly. When you're high, you put something in a microwave for a minute and you think it's got to be done. There's 52 seconds left. Or I tried making eggs once when I was stoned. And they weren't solidifying. And it seemed like they were on there forever. And I didn't know what was going on. Like, why aren't these cooking? And I just dumped them into the sink down the drain.
I wonder how long it had been. Or maybe you had your stove on super low on accident.
I mean, really, if you cook eggs on low, they're better.
Really?
Yeah.
I always turn that heat up.
I do too, but it's not that there's no proper way. I'm sure some chef will say there's a proper way, and I think turning the heat up, that they would get onto us for it. But if you want some brown on them and you want them to be hard, then you can use high heat.
I don't like really soft scrambled eggs. They're gross.
There's a softness without a runniness that you can get on low heat.
Yeah.
That's the goal for me. And
Well, I'm busy.
I agree.
So crank it up.
Oh, there's baby.
Yeah. So school comes back August 4th in Gwinnett County, at least.
That's crazy.
It's still so hot as shit.
Yeah, they have air conditioner. That was one of
I
the
know, but
one of the things in the Northeast. They go back later because there is no air conditioner in a lot of the schools that are old.
oh, I see.
So that was part of the reason for the schedule. I mean, at this point, I'm sure most schools have air conditioners, even window units. Here in New York, you go by the schools, they're old, but they've got window units hanging out.
Right. Yeah.
But that was part of the reasoning for that. In the South, where it's hotter, it doesn't make sense, I guess, to go back earlier, but there was always air conditioning. And were you ever in a trailer at school?
Yeah.
Those had the
But
best air
not
conditioning.
for a school. Oh, well, yeah. I think in third grade, Miss Barris. I think we were in a trailer.
I went to Baker Elementary, which was a brand new school. And by the time I was in third grade, they had outgrown the space they had built.
Oh, okay.
And there were trailers. And I was in a trailer in third grade, fourth grade, and fifth grade. So I wasn't
Wow, really?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe in fourth grade I was back in. Third grade I was in a trailer. I remember because there was a red spot on the carpet that somebody had spilled paint or something.
Oh, okay.
And we used to pretend it was a blood stain, and we'd shoot ourselves in the head with a finger gun and fall to the ground right on that spot.
Wow. That's dark.
I know.
So it looks like in where I live, the first day of school is like the 29th through the 31st of August. So the end of August. Oh, okay. So theirs was the 8th or something, right?
I hear you. I'm just listening to baby bark.
I'm sorry.
Baby bark.
He needs to go out, but then we started talking.
How does it give him a pee pad?
I know, but he gets like, it's actually kind of hard because around now is when he has been awake for a while and then wants to go to bed and kind of gets mad at you if you're not going to bed, you know? He's like, put me to bed. I'll put him on the bed and he'll just like find his little nook and like sleep. But otherwise, like now, because he was sleeping before we started recording and then he woke up and now he wants to be taken out and he likes to like go insane.
Does
like,
the
run
show
and zoom?
Does the show know yet?
I don't know. I told Tim.
The Von Hessler Doctrine. I'm going to ask you every single day, time we record. Oh man, that beast is going wild. Anyway.
Baby. He really is.
Anyway, maybe there's a squirrel or some creature that he sees.
It's annoying. Should I go check on him?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, hold on.
I don't know how much I can play of that without us getting kicked off by the algorithm.
I've been meaning to tell you, I've got this feeling that
Are you back?
Yeah. Hungry eyes?
Yeah, well, what the fuck's the word I want to say? In honor of baby.
Yeah. Teach baby how to dance so that she can help cover Penny. Is that her name?
I don't remember the characters' names.
She's getting an abortion.
Yeah, I just remember the one guy's got the pocket version of the fountain.
Ayn Rand.
Yeah, the Fountainhead.
I know. So I knew Eric. Well, so I grew up knowing Dirty Dancing and loving it. And then separately, you know, Eric was the first person that I'd ever heard talk about Ayn Rand or the Fountainhead or whatever. And then when I realized that those two things went together, that he pulls out that book and loans it to baby, and then she doesn't like him because of it, which I don't know what that means. And then that's Eric's favorite book or whatever. I'm like, oh no, have I hitched my wagon to the wrong guy?
Yeah.
Baby was insulted.
I read it because Eric, you know, he would rant and rave about the Fountainhead.
Yeah.
And look, Ayn Rand in general, I think the idea people don't like it politically because Republicans have hijacked it. It's somewhat ridiculous on that front because as they do, if you read the book, I don't think that it's pushing any Republican agenda directly. And I'm not making any commentary on that one way or the other. It's just about individualism. And, you know, there's people who think that individualism, which I guess leans more right these days, is you're thinking about yourself and your life and not caring about the collective good. Right. And I think that is the point of contention with a lot of it. But, you know, the truth is we are individuals, and I think there's a balance between the two.
Sure.
And you have to look out for yourself. I mean, everyone says they're all for the collective good. Meanwhile, they're all trying to prove how special and different they are.
Right.
You know, and I've been plenty of people who are liberal are doing that exact same thing. So to say that you don't buy into the individual at all is bullshit. You do. You're on TikTok pushing your videos because you want people to say, wow, what a cool individual.
And when it comes to any type of survival, you know, you may sacrifice yourself for a loved one, but you're not going to do it for like a stranger.
I mean, when it comes down to it in the apocalypse, no,
Yeah.
you're not going
But
to
that's
do
what I'm
that.
saying. It's like, yes, you do have to choose. It's like, are you really going to choose yourself over me? Yeah. Yeah, I am.
I mean, the Fountainhead, if you read it, I never read Atlas Shrugged. I don't know. The Fountainhead.
Oh, you read The Fountain. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's, Howard Rourke is an architect. And there's some weird stuff where this woman likes him. Dominique, I think is her name. And they do this weird game, dancing around each other. And then he pretty much sexually assaults her, if not outright rapes her. But she like wants it. And it's like, okay, I don't know what the fuck this is.
Oh, when did she write it?
I don't know what year she wrote it.
Because that was kind of a 70s thing.
But it was, yeah. It's
Because
like,
all the porn from the 70s is about like a chick not wanting to have sex and then being so turned on by being assaulted that they're like into it.
That part creeped me out.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. But, he's an architect and he's got his ideas of what makes good architecture. And he's got a friend who sells out and just does what's expected of him and builds the boring corporate buildings. And he's more successful for a long time. And these are things that, people deal with, any creative person. And then he's unwilling to give in. And at some point he finally does, but I think somehow he's fooled. And this gets a little ridiculous. Spoiler alert, he blows up the building. That he
On purpose?
Yeah, because he didn't
Okay.
like the fact that it wasn't to his ideals.
I see.
I can't remember exactly how he even got involved with it. I was like, okay, look, I get that. And then there's a big court scene. There's always a court scene in these things. But yeah, Howard Rourke seems like a totally self-absorbed type of dude who's not thinking about anything else around him other than himself. And, there's the capitalistic parts of it too, which this book really kind of goes against in the sense that he doesn't want to sell out to make money. He just wants to make buildings he loves and believes in. But because, Ayn Rand came from communist country over to the United States, really bought into it wholeheartedly. And that's some of the conflict too that people have and the problems they have. But I think, like anything else, it's viewed black or white. It's just been hijacked. It's like, fuck
Right.
her. Like, you can read it and not like it, and that's totally fair. And I read it and I found things I agreed with and things I didn't agree with. I don't know why we can't admit that that's how most things go.
You mean subtlety or gray areas?
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah. I don't know why
Nuance.
it's so difficult these days.
yeah.
Like, in talking about it, the way I'm talking about it, I'm thinking of the people who, and I think of this more because, I do have, I lean liberal and I have liberal friends for the most part. But I think because I'm associating with more people on the left, I think of people hearing me say that, like, what, fuck you, and just writing me off.
Yeah.
It would probably be different if I were conservative and had more conservative friends, and then I would say things that maybe were leaning a bit liberal and would think the same thing, that they would say, fuck you,
Right.
and
right.
write me off. But it's pretty ridiculous. I have to dance around this in my own head that I'm saying, The Fountainhead's fine. It's not,
Right.
Eric says it's his favorite book. I read it. I got certain things out of it, identified with certain parts of it, and there's other parts that it's ridiculous and stupid or creepy and gross or whatever.
Yeah, I was talking to someone this weekend and I said I was describing the show, and whenever I'm talking about being on the radio show, it's very confusing for people here because they don't understand why is it in Atlanta? What are you talking about? And I'll describe sometimes the station as a conservative talk show. I'm sorry, conservative talk radio station. And the person was like, "Oh, so are you conservative? Are you a conservative?" I was like, "No." He's like, "It's okay if you are. I mean, you can be conservative." I was like, "But I'm not. I'm not conservative." And then I felt like I was being defensive. was like, no, I'm not. But it's not. I mean, we're not as conservative, but it's just
That's the state.
it's a weird feeling.
That's the state of it all around, no matter what side you're on. You've got enough people operating in extremes that you're done for if you say the wrong thing to the wrong person.
The person I was talking to didn't, damn me or anything, but I was like, I'm not.
I mean,
And then he was a black guy and I got sort of all tied up. This is at the end of the night. So I wasn't like drunk, but I was drinking.
you were drunk.
And I talked about how the other show, and I couldn't remember his name, the other guy that does in the evenings. It's like Shelley Winters.
Yes.
Yeah, and how their show is like more loose and they get away with a whole lot. And I said it's like I was trying to it's really now coming back to me and the embarrassment is flooding my body. But I talked about it's like, it's like a lot of black folks on that show and they get away with a lot. And he was like, what do you mean they get? And I was like, I mean, like, because they're just like at night and they get to talk more loosely about stuff than we for some reason are. I would like to be on that show, honestly, because it seems like I could let my hair down a little bit and not be as worried. But it's black people on a I don't know.
What were you trying to,
oh God.
What were you trying to say ultimately? Why did you bring up the race?
Because I was trying to say that
It's not such bad. Just because
the
Sean
audience-
Hannity's on the station, there's black guys on the station, black ladies. Like it seems like.
I know. The point I was trying to demonstrate was that the radio station, I described it as conservative, but we're not like good old boys where it's like we don't have a diverse group of people that we work with.
Well, I think the fact that, I'm liberal hurts me on that show. Because since most of the audience probably does lean conservative, they probably, even saying it here on this show, because a lot of our audience comes from people who listen to the Von Hessler Doctrine. On the flip side of what I was just saying, when I said, and I'm liberal, I thought of the people like, ugh, and they maybe tune out suddenly and stop
maybe.
listening.
But if they do that, then I feel like
our numbers,
they're not here for thinking,
No, I know. I know there was like once it came up. I mentioned my disdain for Trump. And again, Trump as a person. I never liked that guy. I do not like self-absorbed, narcissistic fucking people. It's disgusting, whoever you are. Like, I'm self-absorbed in a different way. It's a more charming way. But I don't think I'm better than anyone. And
yeah, you do.
Okay, I do. I think I'm plenty better. But you know what
but
I'm saying.
You have the charm about it is that you think you're a piece of shit also.
Yeah, I think I'm better than other people because I realize I'm a piece of shit and other people can't realize that they're a piece of shit. And that's what makes me better.
Yeah, okay.
But, my views on that man in general, politics aside, is like, I hate him. I cannot stand him.
No, he's been around long enough to form your own opinion, not just the opinion of him as a president.
A showboater. And, I agree when it comes up that anyone...
He's petty.
He is. He's very petty.
Like a child.
He's very petty with very thin skin.
Yes.
But, a lot of politicians these days, as we were talking before we started recording, they're celebrities. In the past, unless you were president in the United States, most people didn't know who the fuck you were.
Right.
If you were in Congress. But with, it changed, I know, with TV a bit, but it still was limited and controlled. But now with social media, it's like these people get in there and they're fucking full of themselves. And the most important thing to them is to just stay in power, no matter what it takes, and to stay relevant. Maybe, power is a part of it, but staying in the spotlight. Not losing your celebrity by losing your job, your seat.
Yeah, solving the problems in your community means that you have nothing else to solve. So
yes, I'm not rooting for any of these people. So when I say I hate Trump, it's just like fuck that guy and fuck everyone else. Anyone else who gets into government, and Trump before he got into government, fucking Jesus, the guy melts if he doesn't have the spotlight on him. I just can't take it. I can't take it when people are so desperate for attention. So anyway, I know that once that I brought that up and we had a really nasty review written, which I stand by what I said. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it's like I was going to listen to the show, but fuck y'all.
I know. I mean, sometimes listening to a podcast and then hearing someone who does have it, like even for me, I'm open to hear other people's opinions, but when someone, like if I felt differently than you and I started listening and you were sort of having like an anger, like a venting about how you felt that was different than mine, I probably wouldn't listen either. Like, ugh.
Well, that's why we tend to stay away from it too. There's a place for it, and I don't find our show to be the place where this is.
Our place is to, like, we can have those strong emotions, but then hopefully maybe like talk about what that. I personally like to think about the other side because I want to make sure that I'm not just doing the same thing, just the opposite. You know, it's like the people who are very extreme on either sides being I always say this, the opposite side of the same coin. It's like both of those sides seem,
they have a lot in common. Yes.
Yeah, they have a lot in common and they're unaware of their similarities and how you ain't going to get anywhere without realizing that, you know, you both just
They never be able
jerks
to,
on both sides.
and they never be able to admit that.
Right. And that's annoying. And so if I came into this show and I heard you acting like that, I would be like, ugh.
Which is understandable.
Yeah. But also anger kind of makes me uncomfortable. So.
Well, this is true too. Like I get angry all the time. I was really angry. Well, I just can't deal with stress. I've never learned to deal with stress. My coping when it comes to stress is zero.
Right.
I am absolutely inept with dealing with stress. And, you know, for the most part, I would get really stressed out. And then that's when I would just shut down and sit and stare and do nothing for a long time. That was how I dealt with it. And it's not very constructive. And I think to change it, I'm just really what I have to do is just sit with it. I have to build up a tolerance. I have to get used to being stressed.
Yeah.
But the way I act when I get stressed, I still just like start ranting about everything. And one of the things that came up today, because I felt rushed because we had to get out the door and we were running late, and I was putting on nice clothes, a suit to go to the theater, and I hadn't ironed the shirt because I hadn't thought ahead. And then I realized tomorrow's a holiday, and you don't have to move your car if you're in a Monday spot, which is outside parking here in New York, which I think most people understand, but they do street cleaning. So the streets have signs that says no parking Mondays, 8:30 to 10. No parking Tuesdays, 8:30 to 10. And I was parked in a Tuesday spot, meaning that was the day the street cleaning came. So I would have to move. And then I realized tomorrow was a holiday, so they weren't going to do street cleaning on a Monday side. But most people, when they know that, they start filling up those spots so they don't have to move their car or worry about it. And I was like, I got to move my car now before we go. So, you know, getting really stressed and worked up. And then I start ranting about Uber because they still make you wear a mask. And
Oh, they do.
yeah, it's like the only place left in New York. You go to the theater, you don't have to wear a mask anymore. And,
Wow.
you know, my thoughts on masks weren't locked in stone. It's like when there were people totally against masks and people who say you should still be wearing masks everywhere. And my feelings on masks were, you know, when COVID first started, I wasn't going to wear a mask because in my mind, it was me taking the risk. I was like, I don't want to wear a mask. I'm willing
Right.
to take the risk and catch COVID. But when it comes out that, no, you wear the mask because, you know, some people are asymptomatic and you can spread it. And it did have the ability to make some people really sick. It's like, oh, well, to me now it's important that I wear the mask because I don't want to spread it. And, you know, I don't want to risk the chance I get someone else sick. But now we're at the point where it seems like the stories, it's spiking, but death rates aren't spiking and
Right.
hospitalizations aren't spiking. And it doesn't, like, if someone wants to wear a mask, I don't care. That's fine. But I'm at the point now where I feel as though, and what I've read, is that the new strains, while they're more infectious, don't aren't as dangerous. So it's like, I'm not going to wear a mask as much. And most people aren't.
Right.
And so Uber is one of the few things where you still have to wear a mask. And
How, I mean, do the drivers
You
even
have
wear
to-
them properly?
yeah, it's like here in New York, for whatever reason, you have to check the box that promises you're wearing a mask.
I bet you the drivers don't care.
And some of them wear masks. Most of them do. One didn't. But, I start ranting and raving about Uber. I was like, fucking Uber, pretending like they care about the good of humanity. They just want to fucking make money. This whole mask thing is a goddamn charade. Just because I'm stressed out and yelling.
What does Christina do during that?
I don't know. Probably. I don't know what it makes her think.
She doesn't act differently or like talk to you about it or
I think at first there's this idea. It's like you want to be helpful.
right.
And you realize there's nothing you can do.
Just has to let the steam out.
Yeah, and then I'm sure it's annoying also. Because everything becomes this huge fucking deal. If you remember the
Right.
Christmas tree episode where I totally freaked out because I couldn't decide on a Christmas tree. And it turned into a whole ordeal.
A whole baby.
So, I try to get better at that, but I'm sure it's very annoying. Even sitting here, I started recording on the computer before you joined, but my computer was being very slow. And I couldn't
Which it is every single time.
Well, I have another computer, but I don't have a webcam on it because it's
I know, but I'm saying this is something you deal with every single time we record.
Well, this was extra slow this time. And so I started recording, but I couldn't get the Google Hangout to open up, which is what we use to see each other for people who don't know that. And then I'm like, oh my God, this fucking piece of shit computer ranting. And then I listened back to it. I was like,
Oh, you did?
ugh. That's what it sounds like. My God.
Yep.
Anyway, I don't know how we got there. There was some kind of thing, some kind of chain.
Life is hard.
And is it? I guess
Yeah, it can be.
it can be hard. I think I make it a little more difficult than it needs to be.
Yeah, I feel like the way to that thing about being water, just like, all right, adjust, or just this isn't happening fast enough for me. Well, there's nothing I can do about it, so I'm just going to wait. And then you don't get as worked up about it. And then also when another problem pops up, you're more equipped to handle it because you're not already in a state of distress.
That makes sense. Easier
And
said
I don't
than,
know. It's not like I practiced that. It just seems to be a little bit of just my nature, maybe.
Easier said than done.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't know. It's not like I did that on purpose. Like, I found the way. Like,
Well, I mean, how
it
would
just
how
seems
would
to
you
happen?
how would you deal with stress before? I feel like you weren't even in stressful situations, which is not true. I know that's not true. You can tell me I'm wrong because I am, but it feels like you weren't even. Like I'm thinking back years ago, or the whole time I've known you. For the most part, your life's like, I don't know, I'm just kind of doing this thing, and nothing seemed
Well-
that stressful.
Stressful, like when I was in college, needing to get a lot of stuff done. There were times of very much stress. There was a lot of stress when I was waitressing. There was a lot of stress, I don't know, not having a lot of money.
So what would you
You-
do? What was how did it affect you?
I mean, there was a lot of stress with my divorce.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was at the cusp of me figuring out how to deal and moving through it.
So what was
instead
your what was the traditional means of moving through it, and how did
it
it
was like,
impact
well,
you?
all right. It was really like a whatever.
Yeah, that's why.
I'll just keep going and just keep moving. So I do remember when I was waitressing, when you're in the weeds, it would just I am good in moments like that where someone else might panic and someone else and I can sort of take control, be like, okay, I fucked up. How do I fix it? Okay, what I need to do is I need to tell the kitchen first that I fucked up and they have to fire the stuff immediately on the fly. And then I'm going to put it in the machine because I didn't do it originally and that's why the kitchen didn't make it. Okay, and then I'm going to tell the table, I'm going to come up with something to tell them and also maybe tell the manager and then we're going to get them a round of, something like just take care of them in some way or like, instead of like, I don't know what to I just and even with driving, I'm good at, you know, a car beside me is messing up and I feel like things move in slow motion and I'm able to not be in a wreck because I'm not like, like freaking out.
There was still
I'm
a lot
able-
of avoidance, though. Like on paper, it seems great. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know, it's just happening. I'll just deal with it. But that's not really dealing with it because you have to
No,
deal
the
with it.
real things, like the real things, that's what I would do. I would avoid. But practical things, I'm able to sort of figure it out and navigate it pretty easily. It was I didn't give myself a lot of, I avoided a lot of stress by not voicing things that would cause stress. So yeah, I avoided it.
Which I guess I did also.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I was talking to someone at work the other day who said, "You're just so easygoing." I was like, "No, I'm not." like I just don't dump it on other people. I internalize it and I carry it. And that's why I think being in a relationship with me was hard, is because you get the other side of it. You see it come out. Like I want to hide it, but at some point you can't. And I do think part of it is show. I know that part of it's played up, but it's also played up because I know I'm being ridiculous. And that's the only way I know how to process stress is by just having these outbursts of things that are just dumb.
See, that stresses me out more.
Well, that stresses.
doesn't- it
If
doesn't-
you do that,
If I reacted that way.
maybe it compounds on my end. It probably does. But I mean, I do play it up because I'm like, I already know I'm being ridiculous, or this is blown out of proportion because I don't know how to deal with stress. So now it's just coming out and I can't do anything about it. So I may as well put on a show, which is fun for a little bit for some people. And then, then it's like, God damn it, shut up.
Chill.
And, that's difficult in itself because I'm aware of it. I'm aware of what's happening. It's like, all right, now this person's seeing this other side of me and I can't control it. And I need to fucking straighten this out. That's where I am now. For the longest time, I didn't even want to straighten it out. I just wanted to hide at that point. It's like, I don't know what to do. I can't change this. So I'll just isolate and push this other person away.
You
So
feel like you've been better?
So, I mean, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard. But if I, stress varies. It wanes and waxes and ebbs and flows.
Gibbuses.
Yeah. And, sometimes work is more stressful, but I realize there's a stretch of months where within the months, there's weeks where I don't feel that much stress, but then when I really get stressed, the effect that it has, the impact that it has, I mean, it's not, I don't think it's at the point where, like, if we're just talking about my relationship, it's completely done. It's done. I don't think it's done like irreparable damage or anything even majorly damage, but I see over time how it can chip away. It's like, yeah, I got to figure this out and I need to better control.
Because it does affect the people around you.
It does. There's no way you can have an impact. And, I think I'm aware enough of it and having conversations about it that it also slows any chipping away. But if it doesn't change, it's like someone's going to be very fucking patient to be with me. It's true. It's a shame. And maybe that is the case. Maybe it can only get so far. And some of it you have to admit, this is who I am.
Right. That's true.
And you want to be different. And then when you realize you can't be different, then you beat yourself up even more. And then, it spirals
The
from there.
can't be different thing is, I think, a cop out. Well, I just can't.
I think it's a cop out to an extent. There is a point, I feel, where it's like, all right, this is just who I am. And
Right.
this is the way.
Yeah, of course. But if it at that point, it better be working for you, because if it's not working for you and you say, not you, but one would say, I just can't change it. Well, then go ahead and fuck yourself then, because this is about you now.
Well,
It's not only about others.
Yeah, there are people who use that in the wrong ways. It's who I am. Deal with it.
Right.
Okay. No.
Okay.
Make an effort. There's some things you can do, and there's work that you can do. But maybe when I say maybe it's who I am, it's like maybe I'm always going to become more stressed than I should be in situations. Do I need to act out and go on little tantrums? No. But do I need maybe a bit of isolation? But it's not isolation. It's just like alone time. It's like, let me just get some space for, a few hours. Maybe that's what it takes.
Wow.
But understanding that. What do you mean? Wow, a
a
few
long
hours.
time.
A few hours?
Yeah.
Well, that.
To like deal with like one thing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe that's what, for me, I actually need, and
Yeah,
that's what it's
yeah.
going to take. Someone like you, you're like, ugh, a few hours. I don't
Like,
think
get
it's
over it.
I don't think it's
Because
that,
it just doesn't compute for me. I'm like, whatever.
no, I don't think it's that crazy to ask for something like that. It's like, hey, I just need to.
Oh, listen, it's not crazy to ask for it. You can ask for whatever you want. But for me, it just does not compute. You know what I mean? Because that's just the way I am.
Well, that feels like a good, healthy way for me to do it instead of screaming about. I'm right.
Sure.
Here's the thing with Uber. I'm right. I was right about the fact that
It is stupid.
they don't fucking give a shit. They're just putting on a show for who they think their clientele
Ooh,
is.
and you really don't like insincerity.
No. And I did then corporations.
Or businesses.
It's not that I don't.
No, I'm just kidding.
I just want businesses to admit it. We're here to make money. This is what we want. And then there was a time when that was.
Seems like the customers still want this mask thing, so we're still requiring it.
Yeah, this is New York, and this is but the truth is, if you look around, your surroundings are so out of touch. They realize that nobody's really wearing masks anymore. There are still people,
Yeah.
but you're still supposed to wear them on the subway. And
Oh.
day by day, the percentage of people not wearing masks is growing. And if Uber had any presence or awareness, they'd realize this. I think if they said, hey, it's optional to wear masks, and the drivers are employees, and if a person gets in the car and asks the driver to wear a mask, then the driver wears a mask. Some people would argue that that's not fair, but to me, that's the way I would deal with it. It's like some people don't wear masks. I mean, maybe
Or request it for the ride.
maybe even if I got in an Uber and I didn't want to wear a mask, but the driver asked me to, I'd say fine. I don't care that much. But to just have it be the standard, I don't think it's where we are anymore.
Okay. I get it.
So I was
Also,
right. I was
You could just be like,
company.
whatever.
We just money grab, even though they're not profitable somehow. I have no clue how Uber's not profitable. They steal money from the drivers.
I know, I was going to say. Well, they must just give it all to the drivers.
No. It's insane. I don't know. I don't understand it well enough to speak to it. It's obviously something going on and they're spending it, but they take a high percentage from the restaurants when you use Uber Eats, up to 30%. And then the delivery person you did DoorDash. What did you get? $2 and then a tip? And the person lied about their
I
tip?
think $3 was the minimum
That they
that
would
you would
pay
be
you.
offered. So like even if the customer doesn't tip, I think they'll give you $3 as an incentive to take it.
Yeah, wow, $3.
Yeah. But I mean most DoorDash people, don't they have like a little rule for themselves. It's like $1 per mile, don't accept anything under 6. Stuff like that.
Yeah, and seems like the way to do it. You set
Yeah.
standards for yourself and boundaries.
So yeah, people on the DoorDasher Reddit thread will post their really bad statistics because it shows on your Dasher app the number of orders that you've completed, ones that you've denied. If you've had any incompletes or red flags or whatever. And so some of them will have really high numbers except for their acceptors, like because they're like constantly declining bad tips.
They should decline bad
Yeah,
tips.
you should.
And I think it's
should.
ridiculous that people can change their tips.
I've never seen that.
It's a tough one because
I've seen it on Instacart where you can change the tip.
can you not
So like
change it on
they'll
DoorDash?
promise you like a big tip, and then before the delivery is complete, you can change the tip like as they're delivering the groceries.
I heard you could change it up to a certain amount of time after.
Oh, really?
And that's what a lot of people did. And I was going to say it's tough because maybe you do get bad service. Maybe the person's nasty and rude and you want to change your tip. But the fact that people are fishing with big tips and then changing
Yeah.
it and fucking people over. Like when we order food, it's like, I'm going to be paying a lot. It's ridiculous that I could walk and get this and it would cost $20 less. But you know what? That's a price of having someone serve you at home.
Yeah.
So I'm paying, like, they deserve the money. They're doing work. And in the rain, I tend to not even order. I would tip.
Oh,
them.
really?
They're out, I guess. Someone decides to work in the rain. They don't have to.
And it's different in New York because all the people that are delivering are on bikes.
Well, I guess that's an important distinction to make is people are on
Yeah.
bicycles or e-bikes at this point. They're
Sure,
just
sure.
scooting
But
around.
still, you're out in the elements with your body
Yeah.
like a peasant.
So I guess I would tip even more. But the fact that going back to what I was saying, it's like, so Uber takes 30% of the order total plus their fee. Then the tip goes to the delivery driver and $3 goes. It's like, so there's a lot of money coming in from you created the platform, you maintain the platform, you do have the staff, the customer service, but I was like, I don't know, it's a lot of money at this point. There was the initial investment, which cost a lot, I'm sure. And now you maintain, but at this point it should be coasting. You're taking a lot of money. Who knows? Again, I don't
Whatever.
know. I don't know.
It just seems like Uber is almost like a delicacy. It's like if you need it, you should use it. It's going to be expensive, but
I'm just
it's a lot easier than it used to be.
just tired of them pretending. It's like, you just want your fucking money. You want my money. That's all you
You need to
want.
be alone.
The surging.
You need to be alone for an hour.
Maybe 2 hours. I don't know. There's nothing wrong with that.
Damn, it's a long time.
Someone like you, I think says that's a problem with you. You can't be alone for more than an hour.
Me? I'm not saying I can't be alone.
If somebody said to you, I need to just take some time, it's nothing to do with you. Like, you would get really anxious, wouldn't you? That'd be the problem.
No. I would before.
Like, oh no, there's something, they're not telling me the truth. They're lying. It's something.
Well, okay, so it's worse. It was like when you did that when we were together, I didn't know what to do. And I would try and handle it and try and help, but you couldn't sort of tell me what you needed me to do or what you needed to do. And then when my methods weren't working or you didn't want to do those things, I felt very insulted.
It was hard for me in the past, anyone I've dated, to ask for that time.
Yeah.
Because I tend to date anxious people. So I knew that by asking for it, it would send them into some kind of spiral where they were filling in blanks. Like, what does this really mean? Oh
No,
my
see,
God.
to me, you've already filled in the blank. Like, I need that. Like, tell me what's going on so I know what's going on. Otherwise, I'm going to be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, but I feel as though I didn't trust people to actually believe me.
Right.
And maybe that was
It's
me.
crazy.
Maybe that was me projecting because I have this idea. Is like, no one's telling me the truth.
Right.
Just tell me the truth. Like, I would much rather be with a person who's like, you're fucking annoying and I hate you sometimes. That wouldn't
Yeah.
make me anxious because I'd say you're being honest, because I am fucking annoying. And
See, if I did something like that, I mean, maybe, I don't know what it would be like now because I feel like I don't know what it's like to be in a relationship as this version of myself. But I think before that would make me feel so sad. Like I would get sad or mad that I'm mad or sad. Do you know what I mean? Like the fact that you're
yeah, because you're
making
all
me angry,
no big deal.
the fact that you're making me angry is making me so sad. Or the fact that I'm sad because of you is making me angry.
But it's unrealistic.
Absolutely.
Real life is people get annoyed with each other, especially if you spend that much time around each other or
Yeah.
with each other.
I said that to my friend about like being sad that I was annoyed by Travis or something, when we were together. She was like, what? Like, I hate my husband all the time. I just wasn't able to feel that because if I felt that about the other person, then I was, I don't know, felt like abandoning them or something.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from. But there's this idea that I think a lot of people have that unsettles them for whatever reason. Feeling annoyed or angry with another person. With me, I think the fear was the person's going to be angry and then hold a grudge and then they'll just be angry.
Right.
Or they're angry and they don't tell me and then I'm going crazy about it. It's like I know that they're annoyed or they're pissed and they're not fucking telling me. or they do the thing where you know they're pissed, but I don't know why. It's like I would just rather someone say "fuck off" for now.
Yeah.
You're really grating my nerves, and then you come back and you have a conversation about it.
Yeah, things have changed, 180 degrees when it comes to my kids. Like,
I like when people say it's changed 360 degrees.
well, as I was saying 180, I was saying to myself, that's the right one. Keep going.
Yes.
Don't say the wrong one. Yeah, it's changed so much because I used to get really mad. Oh, I would just get annoyed with them. And then I would be so sad that I was like disliking them, or I would almost get mad at them for making me feel that way. But now it's like, I'm fine with being annoyed by them. They're annoying. It's fine.
Everyone's
it's okay.
annoying.
Everyone's annoying, especially your own kids.
Some people more so than others, but yes, especially
But
kids.
yeah, and
all
so
kids.
or even like, and it goes back to, my parents, my relationship with them, and how, my mom, before they moved here, she was annoyed with me about something, and she was so upset about it. And I was like, Mom, it's okay. Like, be annoyed with me. I'm annoying. Like, I can be annoying. And then, she felt better. And I was like, remember this moment, because I will be annoyed with you in the future, and I don't want it to destroy you. And that's where I think it's coming from, where no one's allowed to have
What's the worst that
negative
happens?
feelings about the other person.
What's the worst that happens when you get sad because you were feeling negative about someone? See, the fact we even call it negative, just like you're just feeling something.
Right.
What's the worst? Why is that so saddening?
Because then the other person would go away, maybe.
They would just ditch you.
Yeah.
It's like weird abandonment issues.
Well, I think because my mom and her mom, like her mom had her own, sadness that made her the way she was. And I think my mom felt a lot of abandonment from her mom. And then she had an alcoholic father. So I don't think that there was a lot of ability from him to be able to be there for her like she maybe needed. Also, she was an anxious kid, and that embarrassed her mom.
Yeah, so it's like you need love ultimately is what you're looking for. Compassion, understanding, love from your parents. And if you're having a hard time getting that and you feel angry towards them, surely, like I can't get it when I'm not angry. So if I'm angry, I'm never going to get it.
Right.
So
then my mom course corrected that with me, but I wasn't able to, because I wasn't allowed to have a negative emotion about her, at least to her, because then our relationship wasn't good, for her. Like, she needed our relationship to be very different from hers and her mother's, which is understandable. But she didn't do any of the work psychologically to get herself better. She just said, well, I'm just not going to do those things, those specific things. But that was the relationship between her and her mom, not me and her. So when I'm just like a normal human, I have to make sure I felt like everything had to be okay, because if it wasn't, then it upset her. Not just between us, but even in my own life, like if I called her and was upset, like she would also be upset, not as upset as me, but it would hurt her so much to hear me.
yeah, and then she's
sad
making
or
it about
angry.
herself. And I don't mean that in a nasty way, because I would
Yeah.
do that if somebody told me, like you're talking about, nothing to do with her. She cares about you, and
Right.
But then ultimately,
She saw it as loving and caring, but really it was almost like an enmeshment where it wasn't letting me. You're allowed to feel sad because your kid is sad. That's totally understandable and natural. But for you to not be the steady person for the other person who needs you to be the steady person, and then because what I felt like would happen was that I had to sort of convince her that I'm upset, but actually everything's fine. Like, it's okay. It's going to be okay.
you have to end up taking care of her instead of her taking care of you.
But,
which, I was going to
She's
say,
in therapy now, and we talk. So
but like the thing that I would do if I was in a relationship and someone said that I did something that made them feel upset, it's like in my mind, it's like, no, I can't be that person to you.
Right.
I had a hard time with it too. And then I would gaslight them. Not nasty, but it was just, I wasn't doing it on purpose or consciously, but it's like, no, that's not true, because I couldn't accept myself
right.
that I could be a person that could hurt another person's feelings that I cared about.
Then I'd gaslight them. It sounded like you really did it on purpose.
But
Like,
that's
then
what would happen.
gaslight them.
They would tell me, it's like, no, that's not true. That's not what happened. Instead of just listening and saying,
That sounds familiar, like someone else we know.
but that's, because you have this idea about yourself. No, I'm a caring person. I care about this. I love this person.
Right.
I can never be a person who put them in a spot where they feel sad or bad.
That's the thing. Like you are that person, but then you're also the bad person. Like you're both. You're everything. We're everything.
Yes, everyone's going to be. That's the struggle. And I think tying it up and getting back to our Fountainhead discussion,
Yeah.
that's why it's somewhere in the middle. It's like we are individuals. Ultimately, it's what we are, and we can't help but being selfish. But you can make an effort to also think about other people. And that's a constant balance and game that you have to play. And then sometimes you are going to be more selfish than others.
And it's hard to admit that you're not always a good person, because there are a lot of people that aren't good people. And for you to have something in common with that person is gross, but
it is.
are-
It can be gross. Yeah. When you see yourself exhibiting traits that match up with another person who really is a complete scumbag.
yeah.
Huh?
But they just have more weight on that part of their scale.
How can I have
Hopefully
anything
you just have less.
common with you? We never got to your movie review, though. You were going to...
Well, I kind of brought it up on accident by saying we are everything.
Oh, yeah, we are
'Cause
everything.
We are everything, everywhere, all at once. I watched a movie.
You liked it, huh?
I watched a movie that's popular.
You liked that movie.
I thought it was really interesting. I was saying to you that the tone was really hard to hold on to, because it was like funny, but then also full of like an emotional element that
That can hit
was
hard.
really interesting.
I thought they did a very good job. For the most part, I enjoyed it. I think at first I was having a hard time getting into it.
I had a hard time following it. Like, what?
Just the feeling of it. Like I was open-minded. It's like, all right, I'm going to let this do its thing. And it didn't catch me right away, but it did.
Oh, okay.
And like you said, it's really funny, but also emotionally moving. And at the end, it comes together where you are laughing, but also wanting to cry.
Yeah.
Or if not crying outright. But spoiler alert, if you want to watch this movie, I think just tune out for the rest of the show because we're at the end.
Yeah. Okay.
The only
Bye.
thing, there was a couple things. I liked it. But at the end, I feel as though it just kept driving home the point. It's like, get it? It's family. It's love. It's family.
Yes.
It's love. They did it
Yes.
like 6 times. It's like, I got it.
Yeah.
I'm not an idiot. Okay? I got it.
Yes. I felt that way too. Like it was like a party guest that wouldn't go home.
Yeah, that was like really good. And I was like, okay. Oh,
Yeah,
you're
it's
doing
over
this-
now.
You're doing this again.
Yeah.
And then the
I
other
felt that way.
The other thing that kind of bothered me is in all the other universes, she was always just like outside the one where she had the stupid fingers. She was like a fighter, a warrior of some sort. It's like, why isn't she ever a poet?
Oh, she was a blind singer.
Why isn't she a museum? But she could still fight, right? She could still fight, I think was the thing.
Oh, but that was only because she had gotten that, because she went back and was the kung fu master along with being a blind singer.
Yeah. It's
I think
fine.
if she had just gone to being the blind singer, she wouldn't be able to fight.
And for the sake of the movie and driving the story, I know that what I
I remember they
wanted.
lost their ability to fight for a minute.
Yeah, I just wanted to see other iterations.
Yeah,
Other
I
than,
really liked the rocks.
other than the
That was my
fighters.
favorite.
Yeah, the rocks are nice. I think the rocks are one of the first times the message starts to come up.
Oh yeah,
And then it's gonna
I just
happen.
liked how she like turned around and she had the googly eyes on the rocks. Like, I'm gonna get you. It's like, what the fuck?
No, but it's
So
good.
weird and
That was-
great and strange and weird again.
Yeah, overall, it's a very strange movie, and to think about making that movie, writing that movie,
Oh,
shooting that
I don't know
movie.
how they organize. Like, I feel like I would be, especially movies, because they're not made in order. You know, they're not made like sequential order. I would be so confused. Like, where the fuck are we?
That's why
in
you
this
have
universe.
That's why you have people who are good at that kind of stuff. Like that is
Ugh.
their job, is
It's like a
to
nightmare.
who plan that schedule. And then you have script supervisors who track all of it. It's
Like it. I feel like Inception was more linear and easier to understand than some of this while I was watching it.
yeah, but watching that and thinking about that, it's like, man, this was a lot to make. I don't even know how like you could have that idea in your head and to articulate it some way. It's like this
Oh my
is
god! I would love to hear how it started.
this is what I'm thinking. I think that'd be
Okay, it starts with like this. Okay, so, and then just a big breath.
That's the tough thing. That's part of the creative process. You can have ideas that are really good, but if you don't know how to express them to other people so they can help you,
Ugh, that would be me.
like-
I'd be the ones like, okay, but then, so you're, I would not, I'd be like, never mind, forget it.
yeah, good
Yeah.
luck.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Go watch that movie. Also, like and subscribe, rate and review. Use our code OneTopic15 at hoffandpepper.com for some great hot sauce. They have a hot ketchup that's tasty. I also very much like the barbecue sauce. So go check it out. Oh, if you like hot stuff too, they have like a really hot one that's too hot for me, but people love it. So go check it out. One Topic 15. Thanks. Bye.